Ria.
And I'm Renella.
And this is I Survived 2020, a podcast
And lifestyle brand.
dedicated to shining a light on stories of opportunity born out of adversity. Welcome back to another episode of I Survived 2020 podcast. I'm your host, Ria Bia. And as you can see, my beautiful co-host, Renella, unfortunately is not here with us today. She's under the weather for good reason. She got the vaccine. So we're excited to hear about that. But I am so excited to have my husband, Mr. Marcus Johnson, here to sit by my side. It looks like you got upgraded or promoted from sitting on the couch over there.
I'm so surprised. I got upgraded super fast. So I must be working hard. I must be doing my thing.
You must be doing your thing.
I went from the sidekick table to the main desk, and I'm glad to be here. You know?
Moving on up in the world, huh?
Yes.
Well, thanks for being here today. And we have a super special guest I'm really excited about today's show. Marcus, you know our guest on a personal level and have worked with her some time.
Yeah, let me say I am honored and so happy and blessed to have our guest here today. She is a friend of mine, someone I consider family. She is a mother, momager, businesswoman, boss.
Everything.
Yes. Miss Tina Douglas is here.
Yeah, Miss Tina is here.
Yes.
Let's clap it up for Miss Tina.
Tina Douglas. Welcome to I Survived 2020 podcast.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you here, Miss Tina. So thank you for being our guest today.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate you guys, and I love that intro. And we are family, and we go way back. So when he made the call, it was a no-brainer. It's just a matter of timing.
Yeah.
So
That's amazing. And you know what I am especially excited about today is, as people are obsessed with celebrities. And there's so much that goes into the behind the scenes of being a celebrity. There's so many people that are involved that make the day-to-day happen. And Miss Tina is the mother of Grammy Award winning singer, writer, Ashanti, as well as Shia Douglas, who is a designer. She just launched her own brand, which we're going to get into later today. So Miss Tina, again, thank you for being here. We're excited to talk to you about what you have going on, and let's get into it.
yeah.
First of all, I also want to give a shout out to our other family, LT Hutton, because LT is actually the guy who introduced us, and he's actually a real close friend of mine. And you know, I've worked closely, like I said, with Ashanti and her mom, Tina, and LT Hutton is the guy who put that together. So shout out to LT Hutton.
100%. Shout out to LT Hutton on many surfaces. On that surface, but on the surface of his musical background is incredible. And he's been on just about every album that Ashanti has done on her own, that she has her own label with. LT Hutton has at least 2-3 records. So I got to add that. He's family.
Yeah, he's family.
He's been doing his thing. So Miss Tina, we want to talk about specifically the year 2020, but let's start a little bit before that. And we know Ashanti has been around for some time now and has had a magnificent career. She's had some longevity. She's been singing, writing, doing everything. And it's hard for artists to kind of stay current and stay present and stay, relevant. And she's been able to, from the very beginning till now, work. She's been touring, she writes, she acts, she does a little bit of everything. So, as a momager and somebody who's been with her since the very beginning, who is, you've been with her every step of this career, the year 2020 hits, and specifically for live music and touring just came to a complete halt.
Yeah.
So just curious to know, how you all dealt with that. What was going on in your mind? Was it something that you thought was going to be on hold for 2 weeks? What happened?
Well, to be honest, we were on tour, the Millennial Tour. And I think we were maybe 5 dates in on the East Coast. And then after we finished the last show, there was it started bubbling about what was happening. And it's not that we ignored it, it's just that we were so busy in what we were doing, the traveling and, the tour bus and everything else. But when they made that announcement, we got on that bus and kept it moving. And I remember speaking to my husband, and that's Kincaid Douglas. He said, make sure you make some stops and get some food
Mm.
because there is no food on the shelves in New York.
Wow.
Wow.
So we made about 5 stops. And luckily, we had a decent size sprinter. And then we had the rest of the crew ride on the bus as well. And when I tell you, we packed that sprinter up with food for everybody because we were in, I think, Virginia. So we had to drive from Virginia to New York. So we stopped in every state. And every state, as we were going further up north, had less and less food. And it wasn't even food. That was around the time when there was no hand sanitizer, no toilet
No toilet
paper.
I
paper.
remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so there was we got food, but essential things like make sure you get canned food and bread and things like that. But he also said make sure you get hand sanitizer, soap, and toilet paper because there's none of that. It's completely eliminated in New York. And it didn't
Mm.
matter where, because we're on Long Island. So it didn't matter. It was Brooklyn, because he's from Brooklyn. So he hit all the stores in
Yeah.
each part of New York that he could. But yeah.
That was
So
that was a scary point during the pandemic when you went into the store and you literally could not find.
nothing.
Yeah, and I have family that we live in LA. My family lives in the Bay Area, and I was shipping bread, paper towels because they couldn't find anything for for
Mm-hmm.
about a month. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was a scary period in time.
Yeah, totally. And you guys, so you guys are traveling. You're traveling. You get all your stuff. You're like, okay, we're gonna bundle up and kind of just sit through this. Initially, they were saying it was gonna be what, a couple of
Couple
weeks in
weeks, yeah.
quarantine. So at that time, you guys were on the Millennium Tour. Tour stopped. Was there any
Yeah.
discussion about, okay, we're gonna start back up in a couple of weeks, or
Yeah. We, like, every group that was on tour, management and then the producers of the tour, would have these weekly phone calls. They were conference calls. That's when Zoom started really popping,
mm-hmm.
right? So we were doing that then. Well, actually, I was doing it before then, but that's another story. But in any case, we we basically would have these calls as status calls, status update calls, and they would be doing their due diligence to find out if all venues were closed or if only some of them would be closed. And we it was almost like a day to day, but we would catch up once to twice a week. And
Mm.
then it at the end of the day it just stopped. And they were like, listen, it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Wow.
And then they started sending out forms for unemployment forms, for the crew and
Yeah,
things of that nature. And that's when it got scary, because it's like,
like
okay,
this is
so
family. This is
this is
our
real.
people. This is our people, and
Yeah.
everybody's
How we
in
gonna
danger.
feed them? How we gonna feed our
Right.
people? They're all
Yeah.
family, So started getting scary, and then we had gotten a new sound music director, and so, but he was new because the other guy had got sick, our normal guy. So, but he was from Detroit, so he had to go back there, and he had the same problems, and so at the end of the day, we did the best that we can with what we had, but everybody was scared.
Yeah.
And then because of the quarantine, it was like, okay, now we have to wear these masks. And at the time, it was masks and gloves. Like you
Hmm.
couldn't even go anywhere without gloves.
Wow.
So it was tough. So we go into go mode, we go into survival mode, and it's like we got to eat.
We got to
And
eat.
yeah, when I say eat, I don't mean the food. I'm talking about in order for us to eat food, we got to work.
Right.
And we just came together as my team is strong, and I love them to death, and I run a tight ship, and everybody is understanding of their families coming first, and we make that clear. And then at the same time, we got to feed your families.
Right.
So we just went right into go mode. And one of the things that really helped us out, like Ashanti is also producing concerts,
Mhm.
and she's executive producing films. So
Wow.
we were able to put together these packages of virtual concerts. And virtual concerts, one of them was with Wiz Khalifa, Machine Gun Kelly, and Ashanti, and we would package them and ship them out to China because China, that's where it all
That's
started. So they,
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, they were okay. Not, I shouldn't say okay, but they had been in it already, so they had already made their adjustments.
Right,
Right.
right.
They were so, like, I don't want to
So
say greedy, but they were so um intense about getting American
content.
talent over there. So we would do these virtual shows, and we would, I knew a lot of people on Long Island that had venues that were small enough that all you got to do is get on the stage. You just
Right.
cameramen, they videotape it. They had the lighting and the gobos and everything, and made it look hot. And the audience, and then Ashanti would be like, "Throw your hands in the air," and
So
it was the weirdest thing.
it felt like a real Ashanti live in person show
Exactly,
virtually.
exactly.
Wow.
And she had just two dancers and herself, um, no band, just our DJ. But when you're in that mind space where you don't have anything to gravitate to except bad news that keeps coming on the TV,
Right.
forward to it. And that's what we did. We started packaging up these virtual concerts, and they had a lot of money. So
Get that bag. You gotta still get that bag.
You got to
we,
secure the
Yeah,
bag.
you gotta secure the
I'd
bag.
love to hear how
you
you
know,
guys just adjusted
you have
quickly because you're hearing a lot about virtual concerts now, but it sounds like you guys picked them
yeah,
up fairly early
Early.
in comparison
very
to a
early.
lot of artists. You just quickly adjusted and hopped on it because I know there's still some companies trying to figure that out, and it's an artist too. So Ashanti, it sounds like never skipped a beat throughout all this.
Mm-mm. And you know what? That's God. We are very blessed, and we it could have went left. It could have
Yeah.
went differently. But the thing about it is, we try to be very proactive. So
Mm-hmm.
we had been hearing buzzing about certain things that might happen. So the moment we hear might, we move.
Right.
And we had already in February, we were already overseas. She had done a whole tour in Europe, uh, mostly like Amsterdam and London and England and that part of Europe. So that was February. So we were already doing virtual concerts then, but
Wow.
we had put packaging together before we left for Europe. And then from Europe, the end of February, we went right into the beginning of March, starting the Millennial Tour.
Mm-hmm.
So, we started actually planning way before because we just felt like the digital world with streaming and everything is really exploding. So we want to be
Yes.
ahead of the eight ball. So it at the time really had not too much to do with COVID, but it just happened to work,
The timing,
and
yeah.
yeah, because you
That's
can't put those
amazing.
concerts together and be successful, in a couple of weeks. That
Right.
has to be planned. You got to get the artists, got to get the paperwork,
Right.
got to make sure everything is right. You got to sign paperwork with them, the sponsors. So there's a lot going on. So we were like, well, we're going to push this other virtual. We got to do this now, China.
So you guys are steadily working. You're doing these virtual concerts. As these virtual concerts are picking up, we're seeing that Versus is coming around. Versus
Mm-hmm.
is coming around. They're having all types of battles. Everybody's excited about it. There's millions of people logging in live to watch these Versus battles. And then it gets announced that Ashanti is going to go on versus Keisha Cole. So everybody's extremely excited about that. The day comes for the Versus battle. What
Mhm.
happens?
Okay, so it was so crazy because it took months for us to even say yes. They had been asking since the end of 2019 going into 2020 because I guess that it started rumbling around then. So for a couple of, I'm sure they had been talking about it, but then it didn't get raised until around the time that the tour was done.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, no, it's not a good time. No, it's not a good time. And then we were watching them though. We
Mm-hmm.
loved watching them and it was very entertaining. But at the time, it didn't make sense.
Right.
She wanted it to make sense because she's a businesswoman first.
Mm-hmm.
So the platform had to be right. And without a platform, why would you do something that can't be advantageous
Right.
to your brand. So, she waited and waited, and she kept saying, no, it's not the right time. But when she got her single, when she got back, because she had gone to Africa, right? And when she got back, that's when the whole COVID thing, she had gotten COVID, but she didn't get it from Africa. She got it from a family member.
Oh
Oh, wow.
wow, got
Yeah.
you. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So COVID came around, and like she noticed, because when she left for Africa, she was negative. When she came back, she got another test, right? And the way that they work the testing is really weird at the time. Like now it's different. You can get the
Right.
rapid 15 minutes and
Right,
go.
right.
PCR is different. Like I'm a pro at it. I get them twice. I know
Tested on the regular. Huh?
exactly. I know that I'm pissed. I don't like it saying non-detected. I like it to say negative.
Yeah,
But
give
that's
me an
what I mean.
answer.
But anyway, so and she was fine when she got back, and then all of a sudden, and everybody tested negative in Africa. So it wasn't from there. It was
Right.
from once she got home, and you hug your family members, you haven't seen them, and for her, some of them years. It's a dangerous time. I missed you. I'm glad you're home, and everybody's home. Don't come by though, because I ain't trying to see
Right.
nobody. You know what I mean? But she was coming home, and yeah, we all got it except for Shia.
Oh, wow. So you got it too.
Yeah, I had it too. I was in the hospital.
What?
Oh, wow.
Oh
didn't
yeah,
know
I was
that.
in the hospital. I wasn't on a ventilator, but I was in the hospital for 5 days because
Wow.
I have these allergies. I have upper respiratory issues. So I can't take any smells, no perfume, no cleaning products, no cologne, nothing. And so as a result, I have a pump that I carry, because if I get in the car and it's an Uber and the guy has on cologne, I'm like, roll your window down, take out them little leg things. You know what I'm saying?
It's a
'Cause,
little too
people,
much.
yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So because of the upper respiratory that I had, I couldn't breathe, and that's how I knew something was wrong. But I just went to lay down, and Ashanti had called the ambulance. I'm like, "What are you doing?" I'm fine. I just
What?
lay down. She made me go to the hospital. She called the ambulance. When I got up, I said, "Let me just lay down, because I'm just, I just need rest. That's all."
Yeah.
Next thing I know, they was coming down the hallway, and I mean, because I have a little hallway in my unit, right, in my apartment, and I'm like, "Who are these people?" She's like, "Ma, get on the stretcher."
Oh, she wasn't playing. She,
She
was
was
like, I
serious.
gotta make sure Mom's okay.
She was like, "This is Mom's.
She
We're going."
was not playing. You are going. And it was an extra precautionary measure that she took, which I thank God to this day that I did take, because I know my body. And normally if I just lay down, because I work a lot, and it's 24 hours. You got China, you got to be able to talk to them. They're 13 hours ahead.
Right.
But when I laid down and I still felt myself, I said, you know what? She's right. It's not going to hurt. And I ended up staying for 5 days.
Wow.
And you're a true momager, because you just were talking about working while you were supposed to be resting.
Yep, for sure. And so, but that was serious.
Yeah.
And, what was, and I'm not going to say hurtful, because thank God I raised my girls to have tough skin of concrete, not even wood. You know what I mean? But the comments that people were saying was that Ashanti faked it. She didn't want to battle Keisha. And the funny part was like, what?
Yeah, that's
She
what
got hit.
that's what I wanted to ask you too. I was going to ask you, what was how much time lapse was there between the time she tested positive and the day of the show? Like, how many days was it?
Well, to be honest, the day she found out that she had COVID, 2 days later was, I think it was December 12th or something. They were supposed to go on. I can't remember offhand, but I know it was in December. And that day, she was ready to go. She told them to, send cables so that she could hook up her computer. And she was like, you could see she even put herself on Instagram saying,
Right. I
She did
watched.
post.
I
Yeah,
did watch.
Yeah. She was ready. She looked like she was ready.
No, she looked like she was ready, and she said she was feeling fine. But I guess because of the COVID, like, they couldn't be in the same room. But at the same time, it's like, why would Ashanti fake something like that?
Right.
come on, when you got
I'm
hit,
like, she got hits on hits on hits.
And I'll be honest. Obviously, Ashanti and Tina, the whole family is family. but I'm from Oakland. So
Oh, I didn't know
it was
from Oakland.
it was a tough one. I was like, Shanti, who I'm have a great relationship with, Keisha, who I don't necessarily have a great relationship with, or never worked with her, but that's the hometown. So
That's
it was tough,
course,
you know.
I was rolling with Ashanti the whole time. He knows my obsession.
I was definitely rolling with Ashanti at the end of the day, but it was a tough decision.
So as
what happened was, and of course Keisha has hits as well. So they're very talented young Black women doing their thing. But it was the comments that people really had the audacity to come out with something like why would anybody fake COVID? Come on.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, why don't you go check her catalog?
Exactly.
And then maybe that'll help that dead cell you got in your head.
Check the credits.
That's where the mom anger and the mom momager comes in, and we want to talk about that because you're a momager, but you spell it mom anger, and your reasoning is because nobody messes with your cubs.
Because it makes me angry, and you don't want that lion to come out.
Yeah,
really don't. And some people have experienced it. And if I'm right or wrong, if I believe I'm right, then I'm going. And if I find out that I'm wrong, I'm going to be apologetic. But if I have, which is very seldom that I'm wrong. No, I'm joking. But, I take precautions on when I make statements, but I used to be different, and when she first came out, I was like, you think that people are crazy now when they write comments or say certain things. Like she was like, Mom, I'm putting a gag order on you because you are going to hurt somebody's feelings. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna calm it down, because I started to see sometimes people just do things to shake the tree.
Absolutely.
And I will say this from personal experience and doing business and doing shows with Tina and Ashanti. Tina don't play when it comes to her kid. She does not play. She does not bite her tongue for anyone. She does not, let anyone pull a sheep over. She doesn't let anything, go. She is she's a great manager. And just to have you managing and being the mom, I was going to ask you, like, how do you set those boundaries between allowing the public to, pass judgment and make comments without kind of crossing the line of the mom,
Right.
So how do you balance that?
You know how I balance it? I balance it because of Ashanti. I balance it because of Shia. Shia is a different person. We'll talk about her because she has a lot of me in her, and her father, who's from Bed-Stuy. So she don't care. And that's why to this day, she's not in this game, because she will let you have it. I'll have a little bit more control. And like I learned from Ashanti that elephants don't swat flies. So I don't really get into that, and it doesn't bother me, but I do read into some of the things people say. And sometimes I'll try to rationalize and say, well, maybe there's a reason for them feeling this negativity. And for the most part, there is no reason. There's nothing you can do about it. And you can't change the person's mind. So why bother? And I just don't. It's just, my daughter's very classy. She's, sexy, classy, she's not into the trashy. But at the end of the day, and that was when she was younger, now she's a grown woman. She does what she wants, but when you're 14, 15, 16, and she got in the game when she was 19 years old, and she exploded. And her first TV show, could you imagine your first TV show being Saturday Night Live?
Wow.
Like that was her first TV show, wow. So she was green, to say the least. But, it's a difficult line, but I even have to cross it when it comes to her, because, I know her from a child. She's not a morning person. In our interviews in the morning. So, it's a challenge.
Right.
And so, it's like, okay, you got to get up. And she was like, can you tell him that, no, I'm not telling him nothing. You committed, you're doing it. As simple as that. And then she gets it. But when you in that bed and you cozy and you got the covers on, and, You know, it's hard. Some
Yeah,
people have a
especially
little
if you're
bit
not a
more,
morning person.
right?
I'm
So
that's
I have
so
to cross that
amazing.
line.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to cross that line sometimes. That
Yeah.
was just an example, but I'm always in first the mom. The
Right.
manager hat, I switch it back
Mm-hmm.
and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And the line is thin, but at the end of the day, we don't have any paperwork. There's no paperwork between them. We just have worked together. Um, so I don't understand when people have these relationships with their parents and
I would say that the paperwork is that birth certificate. That's that's the
No,
paperwork.
that's extremely interesting though, because I know like there's a Britney Spears documentary that recently came out, and I haven't had the opportunity to watch it yet, but a lot of it is about the relationship between she and her father and kind of how it's severed now because of their relationship in the music business. So I can appreciate you saying like there's no paperwork. This is a mom-daughter relationship. You guys have respect for each other, and it's just worked out for you, and that's admirable because you hear about
it's
parents and children all the
All
time,
the
just
time.
like
look at Gary
cutting ties.
Coleman.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a sad thing. And obviously we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. And the media can shift and make transitions of certain things,
Right.
but there's truth to everything. And when it's coming out of his mouth, that's a little different. So there are a lot of parent child, I guess, relationships that sour
Yeah.
for various reasons. But some of those reasons, and I can tell you 80 to 90% are the parents trying to live vicariously through their child.
Mm.
And somewhere down the road, some plan didn't work out for them. So they're like, well, you're going to do this and not giving the child the opportunity. That's why I
Correct.
have these little momager seminars, or I have a little local TV show that I
I've
do.
watched them. I've watched them on YouTube.
Yeah, and they don't look the best because some of them are a little old. But it's just there are dads that want to manage also. There are moms that don't want to manage, that don't know what to do and how to get their child in the business, or they've paid all this money for portfolios which are antiquated now, and they just don't know. So it's just educational,
Yeah.
you know.
And I'm so glad that you start doing those because people do want to know the perspective of a mom and being the manager. People want to know what that's like. So I'm really glad that you put those
Yeah.
out. And
Yeah.
amongst so many other projects you guys are working
Yeah,
on.
you're working on everything. And I just have to give it up to you real quickly because you mentioned how classy Ashanti is. And that's what I've always loved about her. But as classy as she is, she knows she has a way of being able to like clap back at people, but still
Keep it classy.
keeping it classy. And I've seen it a number of times where I'm like, she has mastered the art of clapping back at somebody, but like still being nice and cute about it at the same
Well, we
time.
saw that with the verses because I remember when I think Keisha thought that it was her time, her turn to go, and she was like, "No, I'm gonna go," and Ashanti was like,
No,
"Oh
you're
no,
not."
you're not."
So you're
But
not.
it was so hilarious, but it was still super classy, and I think she gained a lot more respect,
And
outside.
firm.
Yeah, right.
And firm. It's like, no, you're not. Like, I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And nothing can change her mind at that point. Nothing
Right.
and nobody. So she does it, and she does it right, and it comes like this.
Right.
And I've
But
seen it. I've seen it a couple of times. Like you, first of all, thank you so much because you actually invited us to come to Ashanti and Ja Rule's Valentine's Day show at the Novo in Los Angeles, and that was our first night out after we had our son. So that was like our first date night.
That was our first date night.
Yeah, that was our first date night, and we had the opportunity of after the show going backstage and kicking it with you and Shia and Ashanti, and I was just so impressed at like. First of all, they act super normal.
Yeah.
Nothing Hollywood about
No.
them. Very sweet, kind, like generous family, and I'm just like, I love them.
Yeah. And
I love the Douglas family.
Yeah, and Ashanti, she'll stay for 2 hours after a show to make sure if somebody wants to take pictures, if somebody wants to get an autograph, I've literally watched her stay after a show for 2 hours just to make sure everybody's taken care of. And that's just like
her feet will be hurting, she'll be tired, but she knows that if it wasn't for the fans, there would be no her.
Yeah.
So it's a small thing to be able to go out and make somebody smile. And I'm gonna tell you something, like it's difficult when I see her and I know she's not feeling well or something is not right, but it's difficult to push her then, and I won't do it. I'll
Hmm.
say, "You ready? Because you got 5 more people." And she's like, "Nah, I'm good, Ma. I'm good." And she does that because she knows, and I've always instilled in her and Shia that God gives you a gift, but He can easily take it away. And that's something that you should share. And if you have a gift, share your gift. And the bottom line with that is that if you do that, your blessings come back. And it's not that you're asking, your blessings will always come back. You have to treat people, and she does, from the janitor to
Mm-hmm.
our president,
Hmm.
Obama. um, because we were in the White House, she took pictures with him, he knew who she was. But it could be a janitor in the airport pushing the garbage pail, and he say, "Oh my God, Ashanti can have a picture," and she'll go right over, because these are the
That's so
people
dope.
that put her where she
Yeah,
is.
Yeah.
and you don't see that, especially with some of the newer artists. You don't see that anymore. Everybody's kind of like, no, I don't do that. I don't want to talk to my fans. So the fact that Ashanti has been around for 20 years, 20
Mhm.
plus years, and had as successful a career as she has, but still acts the same way,
Yeah.
it's like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah,
Yeah, even
feel
my
the same.
even my mom drove out. We did a show. I want to say around 2016 in San Luis Obispo. I don't know if you remember,
Yeah,
Tina, but
I like that place.
yeah, it was not. It was a huge venue. It was a great crowd.
Yeah.
Ashanti killed it. But my mom drove out just to see Ashanti, and
Oh,
she had a great time. And once again, Ashanti stayed, after the show to make
oh.
sure that my mom got a chance to meet her, and she still talks about that to this day. So when I told her we were doing this show, she was like, "Well, tell my girl I said what's up."
I will tell Ashanti, and I'm sure she'll say, "Tell your mom what's up."
So we
For
have
real.
Ashanti, and we also know you have another beautiful daughter, Shia, who's a designer.
Yes.
She's a
Yeah.
creative director, and she's also launched a new holistic care line, which I want to get into because I'm all into oils and candles and all that stuff. So tell us a little bit about what Shia has going on.
Shia is seriously one of the most creative people I know, period. And it's not because she's my daughter. And, even she was doing her own thing without Ashanti. Because, Shia sings, but she doesn't want to sing in this business
Mhm.
because she knows herself. So she found her niche, and her niche is creativity. And when she started with her clothing lines, she opened up a store right on Fairfax in LA for years. The only female store on the block where
I
Wow.
remember that.
yeah, Supreme and all
Yep.
that. So
Hmm.
she's always that was her dimes only, but now she's into very environmental, she's very into natural body oil. Like the beauty of this candle is when you light it, the fragrance is incredible, but there's no wax, it's oil. So as it's melting, you put it on your skin, and it's all
Wow.
products, and it's so beautiful. And this is it here. I have one here. I had it in
Yeah,
the
show
back.
us.
I don't know if you could see that, but it's Wife of Creation. And
Nice.
that's the name of her new brand. And that brand allows her to open up like mind, body, and soul.
Hmm.
And she's very into um, nature and how God has given us plant-based products. And that's what's in this product. It's plant-based, it's slow burning, it's all natural, and they're scented with a fragrance that she created.
Oh,
Oh,
So
she
nice.
went
that's what
and
Wife
mixed
of
the oils
Creation.
herself.
Yeah, it turns into oil. And the beauty of it is, and maybe even after the show, you and her can talk because you mentioned your soap, but she's opening up a market space where other people can sell their
Oh,
products
nice.
on her.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's going to be doing Palo Santo and a couple of other products, just to make sure that people know bless what you have. And she could get more into detail about it, but The packaging is beautiful.
It
It's beautiful.
is.
It
And
is
I
beautiful.
love the quotes that you guys post, that she
Yeah.
posts daily on the Wife of Creation
Oh my gosh,
Instagram page. Are so inspirational.
so inspirational. So it comes in this little foam thing, very packaged, very nice and
Nice.
tight. And then this is one of the white ones. And the lid, this is the lid, right? And then this is the can. And you know, I know, and you know it's crazy because it's natural. It doesn't bother me.
Mm-hmm.
So I can
Oh
smell.
yeah, because you were talking about you're sensitive to, yeah, so it doesn't, it's all natural, vegan.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
These are all
and
selling points.
inside, yeah, this is the inside,
Does
right?
she
I
have
don't
a
know.
website? What is the website for
Oh
Wife of
yeah, that's
Creation?
what's on that link that I sent you.
Okay.
It's
Mm-hmm.
thewifeofcreation.com.
Mm-hmm.
Really simple, thewifeofcreation.com. And you'll see, you know, like this is the lid. And what happens is when this melts down and you put it on your skin, it's beautiful. Oh, it feels so good. But then you put the top back on it and you could use it as a nice little jar to put your little trinkets in and stuff. And on the back, it says Wife of Creation on the bottom. So I'm so proud of her. She came with all of this by herself, and she's very creative in the sense of I want to do this because I'm on a journey now, and this is something we could talk about at a different time. But she posted a video of a traumatic experience that she had gone through with domestic violence,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel that her journey from, and this was about 2 years ago, from that and how she has evolved into the woman that she is. She created her own environment where it gives her the strength and the morale and the level of creativity that brings her to a place in life that she'll never have to go back there again. And this is her baby. And I would appreciate if you guys could take a look at it.
We will.
And, you know, and then perhaps maybe you guys can have a conversation down the road or what have you. But when you see that tape, you'll it's I agree. Her birthday is April 2nd, so it's about to come up.
Happy
So
birthday,
Happy early
Shia.
birthday, Shia.
I'll tell her.
Well, this and that's why that's what this show is all about. It's
Yeah.
about focusing and bringing the spotlight to people like Shia who create their own opportunities out of adversity.
Owned business.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So just to hear that story is just amazing because it just fits so well into what we're trying to do here. So shout out to Shia for doing her thing. She is
Yeah.
doing her thing.
Yeah, I love
And
to
I know
hear those
Rhea
stories.
she loves candles and I know she'll be on the internet,
Like,
when this show is over, ordering some because that's just how
For
she
sure.
is.
And it was out of stock last week, so she's back stocked
I,
Okay.
up.
I saw that because I actually was looking last night and I was like, oh, I'm going to get some, and it was out of stock. So I will make sure I purchase some today because I just love the whole messaging and everything behind it, and the fact that it's all natural and vegan. That's kind of in line with what I'm
what
trying to
she's doing,
focus
yeah.
on right now with like self-care and, you know, just mental health and all of that. So I can really appreciate that.
And the whole mental health thing and anxiety and things that people are going through with the pandemic, it's all built in to this whole creation that she's come up with. And like I was saying, her birthday's April 2nd, and last year April 2nd, if you look on her Instagram, you'll see that video, and then you'll understand what I'm talking about when you see her journey and the way that it's created, the sound of her voice. It's just mentally stimulating. So now she has combined with she has people that she will go live with, like her therapist. She has a therapist. We went to family therapy to make sure that she would be able to adjust to this life that she has been experiencing, which sometimes all of us have things that you go through that you might not know about. But she was that woman of strength in her, that she was able to tell her story and her journey. It is mind blowing. So when you get a moment, look at that. But she's come a long way, and she's
Definitely.
totally blessed. And she takes that as a learning experience and she built on it. And now she has therapy. She has boxing instructors.
Mm.
she put all of that together. So all of that's coming. So
Nice.
we're excited.
We're excited for her.
We're excited for her. We're excited for you, the Douglas family.
Douglas
What I
family.
really love about you all is how close knit you are. Like I see
Oh my
the
God.
videos from when you're maybe it may be a show or something, but you're out of town or out of the country, and I'm like, they have so much fun all the time.
Yeah.
All the
It's
time.
fun
It
to
was
watch.
crazy. Yep, we were in Canada for almost 2 months, so we haven't seen her. So today will be the first time that we've seen her, but meaning to touch, like we
Yeah.
Right.
FaceTime every night, you know
Mhm.
what I mean? And
Mhm.
she, on the level of creative direction, she does creative direction on Ashanti's videos. She created her swim line. Like
Wow.
all of that came from her. So that bond, it wasn't because I'm gonna give this to her because she's my sister. She created the whole line for her
She
merch.
created her
on
own lane.
tour.
That's
Yeah, so she has her own lane, and I'm blessed, but we are very, very close. And I'm very happy that I have my two girls
yes.
here with me.
Close and busy.
Yeah.
I mean, 20.
Booked and busy.
Yeah, booked and busy. I mean, 2020, I think, was a reset for a lot of people. And
Yeah.
like you said, you guys kind of kept it moving. I know you guys had the virtual tours that you guys were doing.
Yeah.
Ashanti actually just announced she's working with the Build-A-Bear on a
Yeah.
movie. Yeah. Tell us
Yeah.
about that.
So that's the movie. It's called Honey Girls, and Honey Girls and I can't really talk about it too much, but I can give you a little bit of what it's about. The honey bear is the biggest selling bear for Build-A-Bear, and they partnered with Sony Pictures and created a movie called The Honey Girls.
Nice.
So it's about these cute little young ladies that are so talented. And Ashanti's, she's done music on it on the soundtrack. And the people that have done the soundtrack are from A Star Is Born.
Nice.
Yeah, the Grammy winners. The musical director worked on this show as well. So Ashanti did some writing on the film score or
That's so
the
dope.
actual soundtrack, and she's the lead in the film. And without telling you the story, it's going to be something, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it's going to be released this fall.
This fall. Okay.
And, yeah, it's supposed to be going to the theaters, but everybody doesn't know what's going to happen with the theaters. I see them opening, but
They're
Yeah, I
opening.
think this past
Yeah.
weekend, all AMC opened up. So I think by fall, we will be able to watch
God willing,
movies
everything's-
in theaters. So,
Yeah,
so we'll
but
all
you-
be looking for that.
Exactly. But you know what? Like, if you get a good partnership with Amazon Prime, like what Eddie did, you know what I mean?
Right.
With the Into America,
Mhm.
you get a good partnership, and Sony, you
Right.
know, and at the end of the day, the decision-making process is up to them. So they'll decide, will it go to theaters or will we do it with some type of Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime or what have you. But the bottom line is, it's all about the fans and it's
Mhm.
all about the audience. So
Yeah.
keep an eye out, and I'll
We
keep you posted.
We will. We thank you so much. You are the ultimate woman, the ultimate momager. We just appreciate you being on our show and
Yes, we
for
do.
mothering Ashanti and Shia, blessing the world with two beautiful, wonderful, talented individuals. And
Yeah.
we're excited for what you all have going on. And
I don't know
Thank-
what you guys are drinking, what kind of water, but you look amazing.
I know.
you look amazing.
I told her earlier off camera, like when she first came on the screen, I thought she was Ashanti. I'm like, you guys look just alike. All
Yeah.
three of them.
jeans are strong.
Yeah, the jeans are strong.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you a funny story about the jeans strong. So we were in Atlanta, I'll make it real quick, in the hotel. And there's an older gentleman, and he'd been there forever, and he was like about 80 years old, and he was our bellman. So we didn't really want him to carry the bags, and we would have a conversation. And so he said, "So where you and your sister going to? What y'all doing here?"
Hey.
Right?
So I was
you-
like, "Okay, that's nice. I'm her mom." He was like, "Your
No, you're
mom?"
not.
I said,
He didn't
then
believe it.
She said, "Yeah, we have good jeans." And then he looked at me and he said, "You sure do. I like them jeans you got on." So he wasn't even talking.
Girl, you look good in them jeans.
Exactly. And I'm like, and every time somebody says you have good jeans, I think of that gentleman. But I'm blessed.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Well, thank you again so much for being here. We really appreciate you.
And I can't wait till we can, do some more work. 'Cause
Yes.
I always have a good time. It's always a
You
good
got
time.
my number.
Yeah. Yes.
And Dada, I got 2 phones, so sometimes she calls the other one
Yeah.
or texts the other one.
But now I know which one is the right one.
got it.
You
Yeah.
have the back
I got
line
the- I
now.
got
You have
the-
the
yeah,
back line.
Yeah, so
It doesn't matter. I'll hit you back. It might take a day or 2, but I will always hit you back.
yes, we appreciate you, and it's always a pleasure to see you, Tina.
Rhea, love you. Mwah. Thank you, guys.
Love you too. Thank you.
See you.